Hello viewers, welcome to this session. Today we have GCE Economics past question to treat. Please come along with me. If government in a fiscal year has its revenue receipt less than the expenditure such country is having, in one of our previous videos, we explain budget and its types. Okay, we have deficit budget, which means that the projected receipt, the word receipt means revenue, right, is less than the expenditure. Okay, then we have surplus budget, which means your receipt, expected revenue is greater than what your proposed expenditure. And we have balanced budget, which means that your receipt is the same as what your expenditure, proposed expenditure. So for this question, it's saying that receipt, your revenue, less than your expenditure. So the correct answer is what? Option B. That is deficit budget. Deficit budget. The next question. The act of cultivating land and rearing of animals for man's use is, if you look at other options here, they are subset of agriculture. So the correct answer to this question is option A, agriculture. An economic system in which individuals control the productive resources known as, if you check our previous video, we did an extensive explanation on system of economy or economic system, all right? And we were told that we have three of them. We have the capitalists, we have the socialists, and of course we have the mixed. Capitalist is also known as what? Capitalism. Why socialist also socialism? When we say capitalism or capitalist economy, we are talking about a system where individuals, private, control the available means of production, distribution, and exchange of goods and services. Okay? The bourgeoisie, the capitalists. Why in socialism, we have the opposite. We're saying that what? The government, the state, the public control the productive resources. All right? What it means is when both the government and the private individuals agree on how to manage this economy. And that is what Nigeria is practicing today. So let's go to the question. Individual control the productive resources. From this explanation, option A is the correct answer, capitalism or capitalist economy. Okay? The next question, right? The contribution of petroleum to the economy of Nigeria is most prominent in the area of, in other words, what do we get from petroleum? If you look at all these options, they are all what we get from petroleum, crude oil in particular. But here, we are talking about the most prominent among them, all right? Employment, we have it. Fuel, we have it. Infrastructure development from the money we get from oil. Revenue generation, technical know-how. Also, we have many expatriates that are working in oil companies that are here because of petroleum. But the most prominent one that we get as Nigeria is what? Revenue generation. In fact, petroleum is the mainstay of Nigerian economy. It's a major source of income to Nigerian government, right? Option D, revenue generation, is the correct answer. We look at the next one. The Nigerian International Decree process involves, there are three phases. I can remember this very well. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. That was in the 70s. Option D is the correct answer to this question. All right? Transactional motive implies holding money. There are three basic reasons for holding money. We have transactional, we have speculative, and precautionary. Right? When we say precaution, it's like saving money for unforeseen circumstances, right? For emergency that may occur. That's precaution. And when we say speculative, means saving money for special purposes, like you want to invest in stock, in shares, and what have you. And when we say transaction, from the word transaction means money you kept for day-to-day running of your activities, of your affairs. All right? All this appears within these options. And the one that is most correct to this question is day-to-day expenses. Option B is the correct answer based on my explanation of the three reasons why people owed money. All right? One of the fundamental economic problems of every society is allocation of scarce resources, availability of markets, consumption pattern of inhabitants, presence of middleman, inadequate labor force. You know that the basic economic problem that faced any society, in fact, the major reason why we study economics is what? How to allocate scarce resources. Human wants are unlimited. They are insatiable. But the resources to get these wants to be satisfied are limited. So we have a challenge where limited resources chasing after what? Unlimited wants. So there's a need for us to learn how to properly allocate these scarce resources for the best alternative. So the option here is option A, and that is the correct answer. A, allocation of scarce resources is a major fundamental problem in every society. All right? The next question, which of these is not associated with the problem of internal trade? What is internal trade? Internal trade is the trade within the economy, the trade within a state, within a country. All right? You don't cross the border, within a border. Right? So which of these is not associated? In other words, all these options are parts of the operations of internal trade except one. Bargaining, lack of specialization, market trade unions, natural barriers, large number of middlemen. The one that is odd here is natural barriers, option D, and that is the correct answer. We'll go to the next question. A market situation with few sellers and many buyers is called, the emphasis here is few sellers. And in one of our videos we did earlier, we explained the meaning of poly and Sony. When we say poly, we are talking about the seller. And Sony means what? The buyer. Okay? So it could be mono, it could be duo, and it could be what? Oligo. So if it's mono, mono is one, duo is two, and oligo is few. All right? Very well. So when we say monopoly, one seller, monopsony, one buyer, duopoly, two sellers, duopsony, two buyers, oligopoly, few sellers, and oligopsony, few buyers. But the emphasis here on this question is the few sellers, because in few sellers we could have many buyers, we could have few buyers. All right? So the few seller here is making reference to what? The oligopoly. So option C is the most correct option. Option C, oligopoly. That is answer to this question. Okay? Let's go to the next question. In income determination theory, acceleration principles shows that, okay, what are you talking about here in acceleration principle? We mean that there is a cause, and when there's a cause, there will also be effects. Just like we have the general saying, there's no cause without what? Effects. All right? The cause, something that happened, that brought about another thing that happened, the implication of what happened. All right? So the income acceleration principle is talking about when you have income, three things could happen. One, you could invest. Two, you could consume. And three, you could save when you generate income. So here, the correct answer here is income is the cause, while investment is the effect. Your income is the cause, while your investment is the effect of the income you generated. Option A is the most correct option from all these other ones. All right? Let's see the next question. The main disadvantages of deflationary policy is when there's deflation. You remember deflation is opposite of inflation. Inflation is when there's general rise in prices of all goods and services over a period of time, while the opposite, general fall. When prices are falling in an economy, the implication with the buyers, the consumers, is that they'll be cautious of what they buy. They start buying small, because they're anticipating the price will keep falling. If I buy more today, the price will fall tomorrow. So they buy small, in anticipation that the price will keep what? Falling. So the demand falls. The same thing applies to what? To the seller, the producers. The producer or the manufacturer to also produce smaller. They can't produce more because they're afraid that if they produce more, as the price is falling, it's also affecting them. So the implication is that during deflationary policy, the level of investment will fall because consumer demand is also falling. All right? And this is not good for the economy. Okay, so let's see. Full employment in the economy, of course, that is opposite of what we are talking about. Increased cost of living, improved standard of living, unemployment in the country, underemployment in the country. The answer here is unemployment in the country, because as long as the manufacturer and the producer are not ready to engage their resources into productivity, there won't be employment for people to do. So unemployment will resolve when there is deflationary policy. Okay? The bank established to finance projects aimed at promoting economic, social development within the African continent is the emphasis here, development. African. So what do you think should be the answer? African Bank for Commerce, African Development Bank, Economic Bank for Africa, Recovery Fund Bank for Africa, African Currency Board. The answer is ADB, African Development Bank. And we're privileged that was a Nigerian man that was head for this for the last 10 years, just finished his tenure. And that was Additional. Additional was the president of ADB. So option B is the correct option for that question. The comparison of standard of living between Nigeria and Ghana is best done through the use of, now when we are comparing standard of living, the major instrument is the PCI, per capita income. The word per capita income is derived by looking at the national income of that country divided by the population. Okay? PCI is talking about what is the income per head of each of the population. Okay? So a country that generates more and have more population, the PCI may be lower compared to a country that generates a little bit, not too small, but has smaller population. Okay? So, and that is why today the PCI of Ghana is far higher than Nigeria. And this PCI is what United Nations uses to determine the standard of living in a particular country. PCI. So what's the correct option here? Option E, per capita income. We are not expecting to put this letter L, is per capita income. All right, PCI. What is the median term in the distribution below? Okay, for you to find the median, you either rearrange the distribution in ascending or descending order for you to be able to secure the median. The word median is the value that is in the middle. So we have to rearrange either in ascending or descending order. I choose to do ascending order. So the lowest one is 12, and then we have 13, we have another 13, and then we have 14, and then we have 15, and we have 17, and of course 29. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the middle value. Okay? Since there are 7, just count 1, 2, 3, stop. From the front and from the rear, 1, 2, 3, stop. So this is the median of this distribution. 14. Option C is the median of this distribution. If you are asked to find the mean of this distribution, what to do is just to add them together, divided by what? 7. Okay? And if you're asked to find mode of this distribution, mode means the one that appears most. All right? 13 appeared twice, and 13 will become what? Your mode. So what have I done? I've just used this distribution. This to explain mean, median, and mode. Okay? I hope you're enjoying this class. Please subscribe to this channel so that you get more from us. All right? The middle value of an array figure arranged in descending order is, I just explained that. That's what we just did now. Median. Option C. Middle, median. Now, the next question is this. If commodities A and B are jointly demanded, the word jointly demanded also means they are complements. They go together. Okay? What will be the effect if there's an increase in the price of A on the demand for B? You know, for instance, petrol and car. If the price of petrol is high, what do you think happens to demand for car? It will be lower. They are inversely proportional. All right? And that's exactly the situation we're passing through in Nigeria today. Because of the increase in the price of petrol, many car owners drop their cars at home and they jump public transport. Okay? So the same thing will happen to this product because they are jointly demanded complements. Decrease in demand, decrease in price of commodity B, demand for commodity B remain constant, increase in demand for commodity B, has not happened, increase in the price of commodity B. You know, based on law of demand and supply, the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. So based on that law, the answer is option A. There will be decrease in the demand for commodity B. Okay? Now let's see the next question now. Which of the following factors will not account for an outward shift on production possibility curve. When we talk about outward shift, it is talking about increase in the level of productivity, especially when there's technological advancement, when there's low cost of production, when there's low tax. Okay, but outward shift is positive shift, right, in productivity of a particular country. So which of this is not accounting for that? Budgeting and planning based on expectation, expansion in employment, discovery and exploration of new resources, introduction of improved production techniques, skill improvement through education and training. You agree with me that B, C, D, and E, they are all positive, progressive towards enlarging and increasing productivity. Option A is the answer for this question. All right? Look at the next question. The willingness of an individual back up with purchasing power at a given time is, the word back up in economics is referred to as what? Effective demand. There's a difference between effective demand and demand. Demand is your desire to get something, all right? But you may not have the capacity or the ability to pay for it as at the time you want it, okay? So demand could just be like a want. But when you demand for something and you have the purchasing power, the ability to pay for that thing as at the time is very important. It's of essence. As at the time you are demanding for it, we call it effective demand. Option C is the correct answer, okay? Which of the following is not a factor that brings about changes in demand? If you check our earliest videos too, we did extensive explanation on changes in demand and changes in quantity demanded. Okay? We also did that of supplies. So please check out the videos, some of our previous videos. We did some diagram to make this explanation. Okay? So please do that. All right? So let's concentrate on this question now so that we'll not be distracted. Which of the following is not a factor that brings about changes in demand? In other words, all these factors will bring about change in your demand, except one. Okay? Always take note. Anytime you write it in capital letter or in italics or underline, pay emphasis on that. It's an adjective that qualifies the direction of your answer. A change in real income. Your real income is after you must pay your tax. When it changes, of course, your demand will also be affected. Government policy, increase in population, more people will also affect the demand for a particular product. The price of the good is set. Remember the law of demand. The higher the price, the lower the quantity demand. The taste of fashion. Your taste of fashion can change from a product for another product. Okay? So the one that will not affect it now is government policy, at least at the short run, government policy. If it's supply, I mentioned government policy. So the answer to this question is option B. Okay? The next question. When an economy is having a balance of payment surplus, the best alternative to it is to, when you talk about balance of payment, there are three types. We have balance of payment surplus, we have balance of payment deficit, just as we have for budgets. Okay, very well. So now, if you are having surplus balance of payment, what does it mean? It means that what you are exporting is far greater than what you are importing. When you export, you receive. That's your receipt, your revenue, generate revenue. But when you are importing, you are paying. So when your receipt is more than your payment, it is surplus balance of payment. Your international trade with other countries. Okay? So when this happens, what do? You advise to what? To save. Where do we save? You increase your foreign reserves. Okay? Now, Nigeria government is doing that at the moment, increasing foreign reserve. But unfortunately, as increasing government reserve, they also pay part of our debt. They pay 10 billion. And then they already got to borrow 40 billion. So you pay 10, you borrow 40. It's funny. You understand what I'm saying now? Okay? But you increase your foreign reserves. That is the option C, correct for this particular question. Remuneration of labor based on number of hours worked is known as, when you pay bit by bit, what do you expect? That is wages. Wages could be per hour, could also be per day. But salary is regularly per month. So it's wages. Wages is the correct answer. Either per hour or per work done or per day or per week. If it's monthly, call salary. If it's per hour, that is what? Wages. Okay, I hope you're enjoying this class very well. Which of the following is not a feature of capitalism? In other words, all of them are features of capitalism. I explained capitalism in one of the questions treated earlier. Okay, detailed economic planning. This is socialism, when government or the state is in charge. In fact, it is also known as command or controlled economy. You can see detailed economic planning. That's opposite of this. This is socialism. Free enterprise. This is another name for capitalism. Competition, since there are many individuals, the bourgeoisie, the capital owners, so there's competition among them. Private ownership, that's the definition of capitalism. Entrepreneurs and the pursuit of profit. This is the main orientation of capitalism. The essence of capitalism is profit making. In fact, excess profit is possible. Unlike in capitalism, it is socialism. Socialism is not profit making or service oriented. The government wants to serve the people. So the only odd one among all these options is A, and that A happened to be the answer for this particular question. Okay? If the prices of a commodity increases from this to this, 8 to 10, and demand decreases from 100 to 80 respectively, what is the price elasticity of demand? Okay? When we say price elasticity of demand, all right, it's talking about the percentage change in demand over percentage change in price. Remember, we use this triangle as representative symbolism of change. Okay, so you need to find change in demand. Your change in demand equals to the new demand, or you can say old demand, any of them. Okay, let's say new demand minus new demand minus old demand over old demand. That's original demand. Times 100 over 1. So what's our new demand? It said from 80 to what? From 100 to 80. So new is 80 minus old 100 over old 100 times 100 over 1. Are you with me? Very well. Okay? So we go. This goes, right? Very well. What do we have? 80 minus 100, we have minus 20. So this is our change in what? In demand. But this is not our answer, okay? Because we will not say anything like that here. So we now look for this change in price. The change in price equals what? The new price minus old price over old price. That's original. Some call it original, some call it old price. Times 100 over 1. So from 8 to what? To 10. So our new price was what? 10. So 10 minus 8 over 8. That's the original price times 100 over 1. So what do we have now? We have equals to 10 minus 8, that's 2. 2 times 100. That is what? 200. Okay? Over 8. Are you with me? 8 times 1 over 8. So 8 here 1. 8 in 20 is 2. Remainder 4. 8 in 40 is what? 5. 25. So change in price is what? 25. All right? So we can now find our price elasticity of demand. Okay? Which is what? Change in demand. That is minus 20 over what? Change in price. That is what? 25. Are you with me? Very well. Okay? But you know, when you're talking about elasticity, this signs is what? Is constant. Okay? So 25 here, 1. 25 in 20, 0. What do? We add 0 and add decimal point. The 0 we added here to make it 200, make what? Decimal point there. So 25 in what? 200, that is 8. So our correct answer is 0.8. B is the price elasticity of demand for this particular product. Very well. You can try many other questions like this, okay? So, I can also take down this formula and check your textbook for formula like this. So we'll move on to the next question. Okay? Yeah, the next question. We look at the next question after that question. That's this. One combination of two goods which a consumer derives equal satisfaction is plotted on a graph. The graph is known as, when you talk about combination of two and there's equal satisfaction, what we are talking about is indifference. The indifference curve. This graph is always known as what? Indifference curve, not demand curve. It has nothing to do with this, not opportunity cost. This is sacrifice, forgone alternative. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's talking about indifference curve. Option B, so that we don't waste time on that. Option B. Once you have combination of two goods and you're talking about satisfaction of either of them or two of them, then we'll call it what? Indifference curve. Okay? Long run in economic mean a period of time, which, in economics, we have short run period and we have long run period. At short run, it is assumed that among the four factors of production, at least one of them must be fixed. Remember the four factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. So at the short run in economics, we assume that one of them is fixed. And most of the time, the one that is fixed is land. That's a property. Okay? Very well, the establishment. Very well. But at the long run in economics, we believe that all factors can become variable. The word variable can change. You can move the property, the company from that particular property to another place, another time. So at the long run, all the changes that are necessary to happen to productive processes take place at that point. All right? All factors input are not being used. All factor input are variable. All factor input are fixed. Only few factor input are variable. Firms are not producing at all. The answer here is what? All factors input are variable. They are all changing at the long run. At the short run, at least one or many or more than one. For instance, at the short run, land is fixed, labor could be fixed, even the entrepreneur could be fixed at the short run. But at the long run, all the factors are liable to become variable, to change. The next question: to discourage consumption of harmful commodities, government should tax such commodities if they have. Now, harmful commodities like tobacco are drugs. These are harmful, all right? So if government notice something about this product, that if they tax this product, the elasticity does not change, then they put every tax on it, all right? So the answer is inelastic demand. In other words, whether they increase the price or not, people still buy what they want to buy. Demand is inelastic, it does not change. Option B is the correct option for this question, okay? The formula used by the expenditure approach to calculate national income is, we did one of these questions in one of our JAMB questions in the videos we did earlier. So please you can check up for this. In fact, it was an essay question that will solve all of them on this expenditure approach. It's the most very common approach. We could also have income approach too, method. We could also have output approach method, okay? But this expenditure approach method is talking about this. Look at it. Y is the national income. C is the consumption. I is investment. G is government expenditure. S is import. And M is what? S is export and M is what? Import. This is what we call net export. All right? So option C is the correct answer. That is expenditure approach formula for calculating the national income of a country. Okay? A producer who can only influence the price of his product but cannot, is in capital, cannot determine the quantity to be sold is referred to. So you can change your price, but what consumer will buy is not in your hand, it's beyond you. What do you call such a producer? Duopoly, monopolist, monopsonist, oligopoly, perfect competitor. The answer here is what? A monopoly. A monopoly is always aiming at what? Maximizing its profit, abnormal profit. You understand? But even as you are increasing your price, you know that what people will buy is not in your hand. People will determine what they are going to buy. If the price is too much more than their budget, they go away from your product. All right? If it has what? If it has elastic demand. So you also have to consider the elasticity of your demand, of the demand of your product, before you also increase the price. Anyway, let's see this next question. Government expenditure on universal basic education and subsidy on agriculture are aimed at In other words, why are governments spending money on education and on agriculture? Why? Why do you think it's necessary? What do you think government want to achieve when they spend money on education and agriculture? A, encouraging growth of the economy. Yes, you may say that. But is that the main aim? B, projecting images of the government. That is secondary. Reallocation of resources. Allocated from where to where? Redistribution of income and wealth. Stabilization of the economy. The most correct answer here is redistribution of income and wealth. When government spend money on education, those people that are vulnerable, those people that are less privileged, who cannot afford to pay for school, they will enjoy from here. When government spend money on agriculture, those people that don't have money to buy food, they also see food to buy at a less subsidized prices compared to what the rich people. You understand? So what they are trying to do here is they are trying to redistribute income and wealth so that it can go round. Okay? When government involved in these two particular areas, this food, this education, basic, you understand? At the end of the day, they must have touched lives of some vulnerable people, less privileged people, people that could not afford such capacity or education or food. So it's distribution of income and wealth. Option D is the correct option. The next question, which of the following measure will not serve as a control during inflation period? When there's inflation, it means there is high prices of general goods over a period of time. That's inflation. We answered a question earlier on deflation, but this is inflation. So you're saying that among all these options, this five options, which one will not serve as a way of controlling or mediating inflation? Which one will not serve? Increase in personal income tax. When you increase personal income tax of workers, what it means is that you have reduced their real income. But now they are paying more to the government, they have less to spend. Yes, it will work. Increase in bank rate and interest. This will discourage people from taking loan, accessing credit facility in the bank. So they have less money to spend. Yes. Increase in government capital expenditure. Wow. If government keeps spending money, it means they are pumping more money into circulation. That will be counterproductive in an attempt to control inflation. Reduction in money supply. Government has so many media through the central bank to reduce money supply because inflation is saying there's too much money in circulation and that's why it's losing its value in such a way that too much money is chasing after limited goods. So you have to find a way of reducing the money in supply. Yes. Reduction in government recurrent expenditure. The recurrent expenditure is what government spend daily transaction of government. Okay, so this has to be reduced. So the one that may not be used at the immediate run is option C, increase in government expenditure. In fact, government should be careful of what is spent, right? So as not to pump too much of money into circulation, because the more you engage in capital expenditure, the more you are getting contractors will employ laborers, and more money in circulation. So you are being counterproductive of your attempt to control inflation. So at this point, viewers, we are going to call it a day. And if you have any question to ask or any observation, please send it to this channel and we are going to react to it. Please subscribe and share. Thank you.
Hi, I'm sure you enjoyed the content you just watched. To see more episodes as that, preparing you for your oncoming exams, smash the subscribe button on this channel right now and visit the playlist that we've made for you, covering over 50 types of different exams, including JAMB, WAEC, Cacao,